don't have shit to do.
Woo, what is up? What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another edition of the Bucket and Hoosier Show, where we like to sit down every week and just chat about what's going on in the Rocket League scene. Bucket, how are you doing, buddy?
I'm so good. It's always Monday when we start these things, but I always feel like it's the weekend still because I look forward to this so much.
Right? I do too. It's like probably the one thing I look forward to each week. Just sitting here and chit chatting, catching back up. Because I will say we definitely we kind of do this throughout the week. If you didn't know, Bucket and I, guys, we used to talk all the time, just like back and forth. We'd sit here and have these conversations. But now since we're doing the show, like we strategically keep our conversations so that we don't run out of things to talk about on Monday nights.
Yeah, the bad thing is though that I have no idea what we're talking about today. There's so much, but also so little, but everything's sporadic, but there's a little bit here, a little bit there. It's just gonna be a buffet, a Phoebe buffet of things to talk about.
Yeah, that's a good explanation of it. I mean, like you said, there's a lot of things to talk about, and then there really isn't as well, because we were sitting here looking over this, and I mean, I think they're doing it to us again. They did this last player transfer window where it opened up and everyone's like, yay, transfer window. And then like the first week, it's like crickets. It's everybody's waiting till the end.
Yeah, so that they don't show their hand, maybe? I'm not sure. So did it start on what, like the 1st of April?
Yeah, it started.
Or
I believe it
is that
started.
what it was?
I believe it started right at the conclusion of
This is
of
wild.
LAN, if I remember right. Let me go see it here and look. Go to the great minds of Liquipedia.
Well, it's weird how I see it. So under player transfers 2022, you can pick like quarter, second quarter, and it's just a waterfall of players and stuff. I don't know.
Yeah, they run that waterfall, and you don't really get a good a good explanation of exactly what's going on out there or when it started. Wi-Fi, what's going on, buddy? Welcome back. How is? Did you see? I am trying to get Wi-Fi hired by Dignitas.
Ooh,
Dignitas out there looking for a coach. Wi-Fi, have they heard for you? You want another 1v1 tourney, dude? Like, go pro or just go coach. What's it gonna be?
right?
Oh, Wi-Fi. Bucket owes you an apology because he was at LAN and he didn't say hi to you.
I totally didn't even know till I looked at Twitter. So I was really good about not pulling my phone out too much. Like I would take pictures of something, I'd put it away, and then I was just enjoying everything. And then I went to go post stuff on Twitter. I was like, oh, Wi-Fi was there. This person was there. I was like, I should have just hit up all these people, but I didn't think about it. So my apologies for sure. Would have been cool to get a picture with you.
That would have been really good to get a picture with Wi-Fi and just actually meet him. Haven't gotten an offer from Dig yet, but you got offers from other teams. What other teams have you gotten offers from? Any big names? Did we hit the big leagues yet? That's what I want to know.
I want to know what the player transfer window is and why I can't find it easily.
When did it start?
Yeah, like what is the... Oh, is this it? February 17th, 2021.
No, that's 2021. Yeah, I know what you're looking at. I was looking at the same one. There was an article in Forbes magazine about the LAN. That's cool. I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I didn't, but...
Wi-Fi saying that big leagues can't say though, sadly. I will say though, I will be coaching in NA for this upcoming regional. Let's go!
Nice. Congrats,
dude,
man. That's
Wi-Fi. That's awesome to hear, dude. You got... I mean, okay, see if you can talk to them, see if they'll let you break the news on the Bucket and Hoosier show first. So, like, come on. Hopefully we can work that out. Well, you're here. Can you answer this for us? When did the transfer window start? Was it right after the conclusion of LAN, like the next day? I think that's when it did start. I can't
Which would have
imagine.
been what? I mean, that was March 26th and 27th, so it would have been the 28th. Because it's just so random looking.
Like, you'd think they'd have better, like, posts about it. Yeah, he says right after LAN, the transfer window opened.
And if you do anything not in that window, you get penalized points, right?
It doesn't close, I believe, to like a week before the next regional. So yeah, we still have so much time that I don't think we're gonna get any good breaking news until it's gonna be like the last transfer window, where they're gonna keep it all closed hold. They're gonna sit there. They're just gonna sit on it and keep shopping things around. But I mean, last transfer window we had Beast Mode trying out for how many different teams? You had Daniel supposedly trying out. You had, just a lot of people splitting and trying out right now.
Who are the
Wow.
players that we're looking out for that might make a team that we're on a team? That's what I want to know. The trades and the people retiring and people moving teams. Like, I don't think it's going to make as big of an impact. I mean, we did see a couple, right? Like the last couple days. We'll get to those, but I don't think they're like game changers, right? Like the Daniel and
Well, if I had to call one, if I was gonna, my dog is making some weird noises back there sleeping. In the minor regions right now, there were huge teams that are splitting, which is crazy to me. So Wi-Fi, you're not wrong. Bucket, I got some insight of that from our guy Jesu. We were talking about it one night, and you can tell there's a lot of players in the scene right now. They're looking for instant gratification. Like that's exactly what it is. I can't even come up with a better way to describe it. They just, oh, we didn't win. It's not working out. We need to go our separate ways. Like, isn't that bad?
yes,
Hand in your head in your head.
well, it's the problem is that they see people have success right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they go into a team, they're like, "Oh, this is just amazing. This is perfect. This is how it should be." And so everyone tries to get to that same bar initially, but the reality is on most teams and most sports and most things, they take a lot of work, they take a lot of relationship building, they take a lot of skill building, they take a lot of teamwork stuff, things that you have to work through, and some of those are not fun. They're negative. They can impact you emotionally or mentally or whatever, and they're just not willing to go through that. They're just hoping, boom, 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 let me get to the team where I don't have to deal with all that. And I just think those are so few and far between. It's just not gonna be feasible. I would rather stick with the team for it's like a job too, right? Like if I went to a job and I was like, my first day was awesome, my second day was okay, my third day sucked, like and then I just quit. It would be such a weird thing to do.
Right. That's what makes sense for me. Yeah, I tried. Oh, hang on. Let's see here. Yeah, on Wi-Fi. I tried to be the coach for SRG after the split up from the org, but the org Falcons offered SRG the spot with their current coach. So sadly, I didn't get the spot. That would have been amazing. But yeah, that whole split up. That one was so weird. It was almost because also not. Here's what was so weird about it. They didn't get their visas, and it comes out from the CEO of SRG, who was behind the guys the entire time. That he's stepping down, which makes you go, okay, did he screw something up? He dropped some hint that somebody missed their visa interview. So then the org, but it was like he wasn't mad at him, and there was no hard feelings, and those kids didn't want to play, didn't want to work for anybody else if he wasn't there. So then the org drops him, and now they get picked up by, like, they stick together and they get picked up by Falcons. It was just so weird because it was like, okay, nobody is claiming who's at fault here. It was almost like it was a collective miss of the boat. And then not only that, I like a day or so after they announced Falcons, Tomlet doing some great reporting for us. I did see this as well. O'Khaled's talking about, oh yeah, we already secured our visas. And it's like, okay, so what was the disconnect? What was the reason you couldn't be at the LAN in LA? That whole situation, as much as I still want to be behind now the Falcons and that team and want to see them succeed, it's just so weird.
Do we know if I'm sure there's some sort of time period or something that it takes to get it. So when they were trying to get it before LAN, is that what got approved and that's how they got it because they did it before and now they have them? Or
That's true.
was there like a whole new push to get this done now so that they can make it to Worlds in, what's that, August? When is that?
Yeah, it's August, mid-August, early mid-August.
So their new team was like, let's just get this done now. Boom, 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 we're done. Or was it the old the old org, their push to get them into this one that got them the visas?
Well, that kind of makes sense. I didn't think about that because even Gregan and Shogun, it was like a week after LAN. They were like, hey, I'm going to LA. I got my visa. And it's like, oh, wait, you just now got it? But
oh my gosh, I miss Shogun so much. I said that probably 3 times. I was like, you know what I wish? I wish Shogun was here. And I said that to like 4 different people. It was just so.
Could you imagine Shogun?
I wasn't upset about it. I would like. It would have been really nice to meet him or to hear him live or whatever, you know.
Oh, I mean, yeah. This is Rocket League. I mean, come on, you especially that whole moment of Space Station and Queso, the inevitable just missed the demo and the save, like that. As great as those casters were on that call, I could only imagine what Shogun would have thrown out of his mouth at that point, and it would have just been amazing.
Would have been so good. Who was the MC, the host? I can't even remember who it was.
Dazarin?
No, the one who did most of the like announcing at the LAN. He might not have been on the channel. He did a really good job.
I mean, Stumpy was there.
Stacks. I think it was Stacks.
Stacks did a lot more than he usually gets to do, and I think it's because you had like Wave Punk and Gregan not around. Stacks though is a great caster. I love him. Him on CRL and everything he does. I think he has great calls, and he has a great voice too. It's nice to listen to.
He kept doing the like pre-production, like getting the crowd kind of pumped up. And
was he?
Say like having like a semi like speech to say to get everyone like ready, you know, and he did a really good job at that stuff. But if you had Shogun there, people would have been jumping out of their seats.
Oh, I would imagine. Wi-Fi saying it's really cool at LAN. Meet some Sam dudes and some pros that I used to team with. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I'm sure for you that was a hell of a time, because for like you guys that are actually there, like really in depth in the scene, it's like your guys' big convention a couple of times a year.
Right, so that's what it felt like, kind of watching that. But everyone was it was such a strange environment, because some people were like, oh, bother people, and then people like Papa Rizzo was like, go bother them. They want to be bothered. And then I was thinking to myself, when these people walk around in their everyday life, probably very few, if anybody, walk up to them and be like, hey, man, well, I know who you are. Let me take a picture. But in that environment, everybody knew him, right? Like every single person knew who you were if you were anywhere near the top 16 teams or had anything to do with production or whatever. Everyone there knew who you were. So it was very specialized, and this was like their time to shine. So I bet they were just eating it up, right? Don't be scared to walk up to these people in those moments. if they're in their everyday lives, they might appreciate it, but you don't want to be like going into, you know what I
Yes.
mean?
You always walk up and get
So
a picture no matter how hungry you are, Bucket.
yeah, right. No, I was hangry at that point. Also, it was like on our way out. It was a whole thing. It was just I just didn't feel right.
No, I
But
understand.
the guy I was with, he got the picture, and every time I look at it, dang it.
Dang, I messed that one up. Nice to see that Wi-Fi was asked for some pictures. That's definitely a cool moment, dude. But we were talking in pre-production. I told you I wasn't gonna bring this up to you right then and there because I wanted to surprise you with it. Team Vitality. So Vitality's big pickup is Farah is now their coach.
Okay.
What up, B Davis? So they got Farah as their coach. We haven't seen any players exit the team yet. Do they maybe give it one more run here in spring? And hoping that
I would
Farah
be
can help them?
surprised. I mean, but maybe it comes down to what we talked about before, where they're like, you know what? We started this thing together. Let's finish it together.
Wi-Fi, what do you got?
Oh, he's got some info. We got some info.
Whatever you can share.
Get this man in this. In the,
Yeah,
in
what
here.
are you doing? It's not announced, but I heard there is a split. So there is a split. I mean, so the going rumor right now is that it's going to be Fairy Peak. I keep thinking that it's not going to be Fairy Peak and it's going to be K-Dop.
Because you don't, but I feel like the only reason you think that is because K-Dop has an out. He has a quote unquote job.
He says Fairy
do.
Peak getting dropped. Damn it.
That's my thought process too. That's another funny story. One of
What's
the guys
that?
we were with took a picture with a guy, thought it was Fairy Peak. It was not Fairy Peak.
No way. You saw one of those? One of those things happen?
What? I did. Well, it was someone you know too in the group.
Who was?
Took a picture
Who was
with
it?
the fake Fairy Peak. It was Snorlax. He was very embarrassed by that picture. I think he deleted it. I told him to undelete it. He showed me the picture. I was like, dude, that's not.
They're not even here.
Yeah, that's.
Tiny flew for Snorlax. Yep. He says, I don't know yet, but my CRL team might qual for it, so I'll see. Oh, that's cool. So what, are you gonna be coaching 2 teams now? What are you doing? Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, in the waiting room and back by popular demand, we have Mr. Wi-Fi, how you doing, buddy?
What's
Welcome.
up, guys?
What's up, man? We're done talking to you in the chat. Let's just get you on here.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah. Just put me on.
So are you going to be coaching 2 teams potentially?
Yeah, definitely. So I'll coach CRL and RLCS for this upcoming regional. Yes.
Wow.
Dude, that's awesome.
Yeah.
Went from no jobs to 2 jobs.
Yeah, I know, it's crazy, huh? I mean, it's still kind of like a tryout though. Like at least the team I'm gonna coach in NA, but if I told them it honestly just depends on our placements because you know how hard it is in NA. If we do good and we actually make top 16 and go far, then you know I'll stay. If not, then I'll explore other options. It's just how it is.
Sure. So you're trying to just get on a team that has a chance, or you're trying to build something with them, and you think they have the pieces, or what?
Well, I don't want to spoil the roster, but these guys already have blue tags. They're experienced pros, you know, they're top 100, they're grinders. They have good placements as a team already. We've been scrimming power, you know, like big teams, NXT, like Ghost. Like we have good scrims. Like we're doing good. I mean, I don't know how good we're gonna do with them calls. Yeah, like the thing is for NA is it's just so hard with like making it past day 2. Like day 2 is so hard in NA, and then day 3, and then you know making it actually to top 16 is so hard. So like the brackets are so messed up the way that it's formatted in Smash. So we could get like you know a really good team like E United or something and just get eliminated day 2. So you never know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and then CRO wise, we're in the last chance qualifier because we should have already called. But the thing was we had to use we had to have 2 subs for the actual like CRO playoffs. because they had school, and yeah, only one of our players could play, so we had 2 subs, which were like C2 players, so we just got instant eliminated.
You
Oh,
think for a
My
league
rank.
that's called College Rocket League that they would just take that into consideration?
Yeah,
That
I mean,
there's gonna
it was
be
kind of on our fault. Like, so since the way that they have it formatted is like all the games are on stream, right? So we were supposed to fill out a form, but the captain did not fill out the form for like everyone else besides herself. So they obviously had class, and then it would just so happen that that time, like that hour, was the only time they had class. They could have played any other match of the day, but like, it's unfortunate. So we had
Wait,
to use
so
subs.
They should have let me talk to their professor.
well, I mean, yeah,
Yeah.
so that's kind of my question, right? Because we know with like traditional sports in college, usually if you're in athletics, you get a pass. Is that not
You don't
working?
get a pass. You get an A plus.
Right, you get an A plus. Is that not working the same with CRL? Like, are the schools not that
I don't-
completely
y- y-
involved?
Yeah, they're not really. Yeah, it's kind of just like a club, as what I've heard, but they don't really care. Like, the professor's not going to excuse you. They just, you got to test, you got to test. Like, this is it. Like, I don't know. I guess that's how it was for them. It was very unfortunate, but
Okay.
that's why we got the last chance. I think we'll do good. We'll definitely probably qual. We have a really high chance. Like, there's not very good teams left in the qualifier, so if we call for that, then I'll be on stage at Zero Worlds.
That's
Nice
awesome.
discussion.
That kind
Yeah,
of
Yes,
sir.
answers
show up.
B. Davis.
Yeah.
He had a question in chat of asking why
Yeah.
can RLCS players play in CRL, and that would make sense that if CRL is more or less a club right now and it's not actually sanctioned by the NCAA, then they don't have to follow under those same rules.
Oh, he was asking why they could play both?
Yeah.
Oh, because they're both sponsored by Psyonix, and it just, I don't know exactly like the real reasoning, but there is like obviously requirements for CRO. You have to be full time and go to a college unless you're a coach. Coaches don't have to. That's why I coach. But yeah, it's just how it is. I mean, I don't know exactly like why, but they're like kind of, they're different leagues. They're like different skills too. There's
Right.
anywhere from like 1700s to top 100 players. So it's just Zero's is different.
Bucket, go back to college. You can play in CRL.
You could. It's hard to qual, but I mean, you could.
But that would like make sense because, as B. Davis puts, if you're pro to me, you can't play in collegiate. But B. Davis,
Yeah.
if it's not sanctioned by the NCAA, then it's not following under those traditional sports rules that we know.
And
are
other
used to.
sports, like
Yeah,
professional
actually-
sports, are going to have contracts where you sign them, say like you can't do X, Y, or Z. Like you can't ride a motorcycle because you're going to get hurt, right? Like they're not going to have that in esports, so they're not going to say you can't go play here or a club league or whatever because you're going to get hurt or something physical.
Yeah. There's this one weird rule which I don't know, like I thought it was like 4 years and you're out, but no, you could actually just continue to go back to school and play CRO forever. I didn't know that was allowed, but yeah. As long as you're full time, you're allowed to go. So say you get like your masters and you just want to get another masters, you just keep farming them and just farm. Yeah. So like if the pros want to right now, like the top team, like Northwood, if they just wanted to sit there and just, go to school, not even really take it serious, just barely pass by or whatever, just get some degrees, like it's pretty good for farming as long as you're a good player.
So are these?
That's right.
Are they actually
But-
getting scholarships?
Yeah, so most of the players in CRO, like all the colleges, full ride, like straight up, and then obviously earnings you just pocket. So they make some pretty good money. I think CRO actually, for the most part, is like better money for some reason. I don't know why. It's better money than RLCS in my opinion. Like if you actually calculate it and you're actually a good team, you're farming like a few thousand a month. Like
Wow,
it's pretty good.
It's
Yeah.
just blowing my mind that they're giving out scholarships, full rides to a club, and not like actual.
Sanctioning it.
Yeah, it's not actually sanctioned.
Because
Yeah.
I've even seen like high school programs out there for different esports and getting them involved and like having an actual coach work for the school. and
Dude,
things
I
like
heard
that.
about that. No, I saw
Oh.
somebody talking on Twitter like there's an actual like big high school scene that's emerging right now.
Yeah, I've heard about that too. But there is actually some coaches, like I've got a few offers recently about coaching like CRO for next season. And like it would actually be pretty much a full-time job. I think that I would actually work on campus and like see them, you know what I'm saying? Like
Wow.
it would be an actual coaching job.
Will they give
I do-
you a scholarship?
Well, I think it would be more like they would hire me as like a, like a coach. So I wouldn't
Yeah, so
actually
you'd
go
be
to the
part of the
school.
staff.
Yeah, I'd be like part of the staff. Yeah.
Get into
Which
the teachers' lounge.
yeah, pretty much. But I haven't decided yet because I'm kind of debating. Like after our last talk, I've been thinking I actually might just do CRL as a player and actually just farm money and go to
There you
school.
go.
Because Hoosier, like if you separate me from other coaches, like let's just say for example, like the KCP coach,
Mm-hmm.
the only difference between like me and him is he has a sports psychology degree and I don't. So I think if I get something like that, it might also boost my chance of getting picked up by like Dig, right? Like if they see I have good placements and the sports psychology degree, they're like, oh wow, this dude, he has everything, Because a lot of teams they're looking more for mental coaches, but like the only thing I have to prove right now is placements, right? But I don't have like a degree or anything like that. So I think that will like boost my chances of getting, those top teams to finally pick me up. So I think that's why I
There's
might
something
do
to be
zero.
said for that, but I mean, a lot of places now, assuming that they have this same thing, would be education or some equivalent experience. So if you can show, like, make yourself a portfolio of the teams that you had and then put them
Yeah,
on a website and
but
then just be like, this is where we started, this is where we went, this is what happened, KPIs, business things that you might not know about too. Maybe it is good to go to school. Go back to school, Wi-Fi.
yeah, that's how I'm
All
thinking.
the things I'm talking about are things I learned over business and school.
Yeah,
and all
I
those
get you. I
things.
get you. I just think because like when I look at let's just say for example, let's use the new Falcons coach, right? Like if we go on both of our resumes, right? This season I have better placements, right? But he has been coaching since RRS. Like I think he's been coaching. He had he on his Wikipedia has a first place placement. I think RLCS season 6. Like he coached a team to be the best in our RRS and then promoted the RLCS, and I think they did pretty good too. So like he just has more experience over years, right? And my experience is more of like the last year or two. So like he has that, you're right, and then he has just other things. Like I'm pretty sure he has a psychology degree too. So just I'm competing with these people. I think I need to have something else besides just
Something that differentiates you, yeah, for
yeah, because
sure.
I don't have the years of experience that like other coaches. Let's say, for example, like me versus right? Like he obviously his resume is way better. He's coached a team that's way better than any team I've ever coached, right? So it just that's what I'm competing with. And like the teams I'm trying out for right now, I know it's hard and I'm gonna try to get in, right? But the only thing I could do is really just, show up and just try and just do it my best. But my resume isn't the best, but it's definitely
But you're
improving.
hustling, man. You're getting out there, getting your name out there, hustling, going
Oh
to the
yeah, definitely.
putting
Yeah.
in the work like that. A lot of people just love that mentality too. So there's room for all. But yeah, when you're going up against people who you're like, man, I don't know what I got. You just got
Yeah.
to be confident and try. And if you don't get it, understand why, which it sounds like you do, and then go better yourself in some other way, like you said. So you've got a plan and you've got structure, and you're also
Yeah.
doing it. So it's hard to knock what you're doing.
Yeah, definitely. And also the CRO thing, it's not even just like for the degree. I think also just having the experience, like just for fun, right? Just be able to play on the stage and potentially make worlds, like that'd be sick. I think I'm good enough. I could call for, maybe be on the stage as a player. That'd be sick. And then at the same
Ultimate
time,
dream.
I could also, coach RLCS. Like being in CRO as a player doesn't mean I have to be a player for RLCS. I could still coach, right? So like it helps me fulfill my little dreams of being on stage someday playing. So I think it's
Yeah.
cool.
No, that's
I'll just see, I guess, what happens. I don't know exactly what kind of colleges I'm gonna apply for, but we'll see.
University of Phoenix online, and then you don't even have to go anywhere.
there you go.
Well, I'm gonna
So
try to like get a 3 stack, like some good players, and then
there you
try to
go.
qual.
So you're gonna try and go like a Northwood or something.
Yeah, something like that. Obviously not Northwood because they already have like 2 really good teams. Probably something more like where I coach, like UTA or something. Probably a Texas school is kind of closer to home, and also there's just a lot of good players going to Texas right now. I don't know why, but
I mean,
just
this
where they're picking. And I think West also is better for me because it's more money, right? Like the easier division, so more money, free money.
yeah, you're more blowing my mind right now because it sounds like there is a lot of money in CRL and like
There is.
like our Pete Davis keeps talking about in chat, everything you were describing, like that sounds like something that is sanctioned, but it's not. I wonder how long do they keep getting away from this, away with this before NCAA like gets their grummy hands on it.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta happen at some point. All right, so you're saying rumor mill on the street right now is
Mm-hmm.
Fairy Peak out.
Yes.
God, that's so depressing.
Is it?
Yeah.
We
I
haven't
think
seen
it
him
is.
for like a year. I mean,
I've
you get to
heard
watch a
that
little
Fairy,
bit,
yeah, they're doing tryouts with other people right now, and Fairy he's not as good as he used to be, is what I've heard, and yeah,
Oh,
we'll just have to see, I guess. I don't think he'll stay though. I think he'll definitely bounce if he's not gonna stay a sub. He'll definitely just leave. I don't know if he'll try anything with anyone else or anything like that, but I have a few, EU pro friends, and they were telling me like in scrims that he hasn't been there, and they've been trying people out. So yeah.
wow. Any
Yeah.
any names that you've heard of?
I don't think I could say that, but
That's fine. I'm gonna
yeah,
shoot my shot. I mean, their
yeah,
big
yeah.
move
Now you're good.
was bringing in
We're gonna get
Farah. I
you to
mean,
say a name one day.
yeah, we will. But yeah, bringing in Farah, like has Farah coached anywhere else?
Nah, actually, he hasn't. I think this is his first time coaching. He retired. I want to say about like around 2020, and then 2020, and then this is his first time coaching. So we'll see. I mean, he's a good player though. He used to be a really good player. Top 5 placements,
Oh
top
yeah,
2 in the EU major. Like that's pretty good.
yeah.
I
I'm
don't see his
excited.
hacks, like
And that was kind of almost my hope was that them bringing in Farah and where they're sitting at for the rankings right now to try and get into Worlds. I kind of my thought went to, do you give it one last hurrah and really try and push forward to Worlds, or do you make that quick change? And it sounds like they're going with that last minute change to make a big push in spring.
yeah. I mean, you could say that, but also you got to think, just because they're trying out other people doesn't mean that they're gonna drop him. That just means they're exploring options. And I'm pretty sure they all as a team agreed, right? Like Harry might be trying out with other people, but that you could still see the same roster, for the split. You never know. Like honestly, a lot of the teams, it comes down to like, I think a lot of it is mental. Like if they think that they're a good team, right, they're gonna try to push. But if not, then they're just gonna break up and be like every other team. Especially, I'm surprised in EU there isn't more roster changes because in NA there's always, right. But like NA looks pretty good too. There's not a lot of people trying out. I mean, like there's a few like Xset just picked up
Rapid.
Money, right? Oh no, yeah, Rapid. And then Money went to E United, and then there's a few other like minor changes, but nothing like crazy.
Are you hearing any rumors about, like, my big interest of a team that I think would make a move is Envy?
Oh yeah. I haven't heard anything about Envy. I'll tell you, if we do a scrim versus them, I'll see if I can say anything. But I don't know much about Envy's roster. I know that they're not doing well right now, but I think like they're all good players. I just think that they need that. I don't know if Illusion's like fit for a coach role too, which is another like debate. So like
Well-
all good players and good experience, but together they might not be a good team.
Well, I mean, Atomic, he on the stage there at LAN, he did make a pretty profound statement, in my opinion, talking about, how when he was asked how was the transition to G2 been, and more and less, in my opinion, the way it came off, he just said like, yeah, I don't like playing with Turbo.
Yeah, there's rumors that Turbo's washed, but I don't know. Turbo's not bad. I think like seeing them in ranked and stuff, they're not bad players. Like I said, they're definitely still top 8 NA, not even a question. But I think that they just gotta somehow either find the momentum as a team, right, and like actually link up. Because I feel like when you watch them play, they just look like 3 ranked players. They don't look like 3 pros, with chemistry, ready to, play. I think just something. Maybe their play styles don't work with each other. I don't know, but. They definitely just have to figure it out. They might split. You never know. I think teams like Envy, you would see probably more chance of them splitting than something like like Rogue or Ghost or something. So, we'll just see. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that's a good call out. That they have that possibility, but there's nothing out there like that. And it's so hard when you say that these players are washed, right? Like, I feel like they're probably putting their work in. I'm not saying you called him that you heard that. I feel like they put their work in, but then there's a whole group of players who come up and just disrupt the way the game is played. And that's what we're seeing right now. It's just a completely different game than it has been when those guys were winning so often, or that they were at the top of the peak. It was the face of the mountain looked different, and now it looks like it is now. So these guys are starting to fall off, and these new groups are coming in. And I think that's just the way it goes. And in sports, you see that, but it's usually like decades or years that happens. This happens so fast, months to a year at a time. The meta changes so fast.
Yeah, definitely.
Wi-Fi leaving, the LAN in LA wrapping up. What was your biggest takeaway from that? But just as a viewer and also from the competitive side.
As a viewer, like I knew that NA was gonna take this dub. Like when I just watched, right, like the day before I left, and I just saw how EU was playing, I was like, yeah, NA's going crazy right now, right? So I think I wasn't surprised that G2 was gonna win. I knew that, Chicago was really hungry for that LAN dub. Atomic was there to prove, right? And then JKnaps was there to prove. So I knew that they were gonna do good. I didn't think they were gonna win, but I knew that they were gonna be a top team, I actually thought that FaZe would go pretty far, and V1 too. So I was actually surprised that, they didn't go as far as I thought they could have won. I actually thought V1 had that one in the bag, not gonna lie.
That was
out of all
my
NA
pick.
teams. Yeah. And then FaZe, when they started playing, I was like, okay, like they're stepping up, Sip's going crazy, AJ, like they're going crazy. So I thought they had a good chance too. And then Space Station, I thought Daniel was actually gonna play kind of like I did in the original group stage. But then when it came to it, like Daniel actually started playing insane. So I don't know. I think Redos was playing the worst out of all three of them, to be honest.
Yeah, Daniel popped off for sure at LAN. And I think that was the big surprise for everybody because you didn't know how he was going to react on stage. But at the same time, who is for Queso? Rise was a rookie 15-year-old, right?
Yeah, I think the whole roster of Queso are all like 15, 16.
Yeah, they're all super young. So like we all kept focusing. I know I kept focusing in on Daniel leading up into the LAN. And I completely forgot that Queso was kind of just as a team in the same boat. And actually, the big takeaway from that, I don't know if you caught the interviews that they were doing throughout, but Joyo talked about how he plays for 2 hours of free play before he goes into any matches. Did you know in the group stage, they were maybe getting like 45, like maybe 30 minutes to 45 minutes before they would play their match and then get back on the shuttle and go back. Like that was just, it makes sense now why Queso struggled. I put in quotes, struggled in the group stage and then like took off in the bracket.
I mean, I think it's also nerves though. I don't think that like free play really has that much to do with how you play. I think that's just like in your head, but I think they're nervous. I mean, they had more to prove, right? Like, well, after they beat NRG, people knew they were going far. Like when you see Queso beat NRG, like of course they're going all the way, right? Like NRG, they always like recently last major too, they just fumble. Like I don't know. I've heard a lot of rumors of NRG not doing scrims, not really trying in scrims, not taking the game as serious, right? Like they're like, oh, we're the best, right? So they're not gonna like, try and anything like that. So that's why they didn't perform. And I'm kind of glad that they didn't perform. So now they, take this as a learning, like, all right, maybe we actually have to grind to be at the top still. We can't just sit here and just chill, right? Like there's other teams like Version 1, for example. They just came out of nowhere, started grinding, and look at them. They're insane. Like,
I think NRG implodes. I think we see an implosion of NRG here in the spring. I don't.
You think they bounce back?
No, I don't. I don't think they do at all. I think they're gonna they're gonna demolish themselves.
I don't know. I think NRG, knowing that like Squishy, he really wanted to go far. So I think with just the way Squishy tweeted, Squishy's definitely beyond a grind. I don't know. I think the big thing for NRG though is like more of Justin. I feel like Garrett is always the one on the team that actually grinds. Squishy and Justin, I feel like they're the ones that more of just like, we already have big names. Like we don't have anything to prove, kind of like they don't know what losing is, right? So it's like, I don't know. I think that if Justin actually grinds and Squishy grinds, they'll definitely bounce back and be the best team in NA. But you never know. I mean, they might not. They might just I don't think I would never see them going under top 5 though. Definitely not.
That's a
Like,
hard habit to break though, because that's how I don't tell my kids this, but that's how I got through like school, right? Like I was just smart. I could just memorize stuff. I would just show up. I would get A's and B's, and I would just move on with my day. But other people are like studying and doing all this stuff, and then one day it would come and I would just fail because I was not prepared and I thought I could just cruise to it. But then the next day I was like, just go right back to my same habits. It's just natural to fall back in. You have to like consciously know that you need to change something. And if they did that or not, that's really we're going to see that, I think, immediately, whether they've taken this month or whatever off to get back their edge, or if, like Hoosier predicts, they're just going to implode.
yeah, I don't know. I don't see them imploding. Like, you gotta think about it as from their point of view, right? That was probably Garrett's first like shitty placement
Right.
ever at a LAN. Like,
I-
you gotta think, and Squishy 2 and Justin, like that was probably all of their worst like placements in years. I don't think that they're just gonna like sit there and just become a worse team. I think they're now hungry to prove that they're a good team in NA. They're definitely not gonna just sit there and be like, eh.
I hope they do.
I agree
Like
with
my actual hope is that they do battle through and like come back shining and potential. I don't know if I want them to be the top team of NA again.
That's a great story though. Like
It is
there's
a
so
great
many
story.
storylines and dramas that are starting to unfold and unpack themselves, and the natural progression of a season, and then also teams coming over the top like G2 and winning. Like the whole season has been full of all these small stories, but there's also like an arc in the players and the team, and I feel like NRG has to be a part of it. But if they're not, there's still enough storylines, and I love it. So
Yeah.
I think either way, we're gonna get real. That was my takeaway. Without Dignitas in the 2 days, without NRG in the live 2 days, it was still awesome, right?
it was
Like I
fantastic.
went in there, walked in there Saturday,
Mhm.
like man, this is gonna be not as good without them, right? Like just that thought process.
Stop it.
No, I mean, like I came to see some of these guys. There's 4 guys on those teams at least that I'm like excited to see and didn't get to watch them play at all. But without them, it was still amazing. And people like Vatira just blowing your mind, like how good those kids really were on Queso. And so there's plenty of good Rocket League, regardless of what teams make it. But it would be really cool if they do bounce back.
And then actually going back, because you mentioned Queso again, Wi-Fi, you made a small little comment about this because I was talking about how Joyo, he does his 2 hours and then, plays. And you were saying, you kind of hinted to that you don't think that makes a huge part of it. So I know like Bucket and I growing up doing traditional sports, like you had your routine before playing. Are you seeing as a coach in Rocket League that's not really a thing, or do most players not have like a crazy, ridiculous warm-up routine?
Yeah, it kind of depends, right? Like each player is different how they go about things. Like me personally, I'm the type of player I just get on and play ranked. Like I know I'm never gonna play worse than an average SSL. Like that's just me, right?
Oh, that must
Some
be
players
nice.
Some players though, they get on like right and they do warm up for a little bit, maybe like 15 minutes. I know like my friend Preston, he has a whole ass routine for like an hour, right? He gets on free play and then he's like doing rings and like all these other things, right? I mean that's whatever, you do what you want, but I think that like on RLCS days, I've had teams where we don't scrim at all. We just go straight in. Or I've had teams where we scrim like, maybe 1 to 3 scrims before our RLCS match. Like when they're setting up the whole like server and everything, we're in a scrim, like, and then instantly, transition into the lobby and then play. So it just kind of depends on the team and what we think as a team. Like some people, it's honestly in their head. I think like Placebo, if they think that they're gonna play worse, then obviously we're gonna warm up so that they don't have that thought of we should have warmed up, So
Well,
I don't think though it really affects anything, in my opinion.
Well, I mean, we've seen like we keep talking about V1. They made this huge push in winter. They boot camped. They got together. I called this out of them what we hadn't seen from COVID. So, and during COVID times, they did team houses. Teams were playing together, and then this season that's kind of gone away. Except for V1, we saw V1 bring the team back together, playing in the same room, fighting through the fire alarm, doing these heavy boot camps. And they've made this huge push. Is there not talk in the scene of more teams working to try and do that?
I don't know exactly from big orgs, right? I know like the team I'm coaching, right? Like we don't have an org that's big enough to
Right.
fund like something like that. Obviously, you need like a big org. So I think you might see it more from teams maybe top 10 and above, but I don't think like teams or maybe an NA, I guess maybe like top 13, like Torrent or like Sonics, Ghost, Rogue, teams like that. Yeah, but you're not gonna see bubble teams obviously doing anything like that. But I think maybe like it just honestly depends. Like Envy, maybe I think if Envy had something like that, they'll probably place better. But um, I don't know. I think it's also just grinding. Like the biggest problem in NA, like I said, is scrims. Like they just don't practice enough. Like if they didn't have such big egos and they just scrimmed more and actually, practice, then they would be better. But the reason that EU, they always just show up like Queso is because they're putting in the hours. Version 1, I think, was the only team in NA that actually was scrimming like everyone. We're talking EU teams, Oceania teams, like they're scrimming everyone, getting as much practices. Like that's what I heard. That version 1, they were hitting up anybody for scrims. Like they're just grind. They're grinding. They're hungry. They wanted the win, and they placed good because they practiced. So I think that it's not really about the boot camp. I think it's more just honestly putting in the hours and grinding. Like instead of being like energy and not scrimming or just not trying.
Well, you kind of touched on that, and I was watching. Calm was definitely a big one on Twitter, and I love it.
Yeah.
He was calling out NRG, and everybody has talked about in the what is it right now? The squishy rules. When you're doing a scrim, like I've heard it on Rizzo's Chalkcast, and Garrett doesn't even deny it, and they just sit there and talk about like, yeah, you can't. For some reason, there's this idea that in a scrim, you're supposed to work on your mechanics. You're not supposed to go balls to the walls and like trying to outright win. And I think, like you said, we definitely saw from NRG that backfired on them in winter and at LAN.
That's actually that is a good example. I think honestly that's what makes Queso a good team though, is because they grind. But if you look at Queso, just off all their plays, that's how they play. They're mechanical. Like they're just solo playing mechanical like geniuses. Like they're insane, and they don't go in scrims trying to practice mechanics. They just play, and they actually try, and that's why they're a better team than NRG. I think that there's not a lot of. I think Queso honestly, just watching them, like their play style is so different than any other team. Like I think that is the only team I've ever saw in RLCS that like pretty much freestyles the whole series and wins. It's crazy. Like their mechanics are insane.
Yeah, they are a different breed for sure. I got a question for you. Do you have a prediction going into spring, coming out of spring? Right now, NA the overall rankings: G2, NRG, FaZe, Space Station, V1, and chasing V1. You got Complexity and Envy. Oxygen, I really think's in the running for it. I think they're too far out points wise. Do you see Complexity or Envy jumping into the top 5 at all before Worlds?
I think personally that I'm gonna go with the Sam boys, obviously, right? Like Complexity, my boys. I'm good friends with a lot of them, so I think Complexity, they're a good team too. They're hungry. Like they moved to NA to make a name for themselves, right? They came here and they already made top 6 in NA already in rankings. Like that already is insane, right? I think they already made one major. I think that they can do it again. If I had to pick a team that they would replace, I would say honestly it'd be Space Station out of the top. Unless Energy like tank, like you said. If Energy tanks, then they'll just replace Energy. But I think Space Station would be the one. I don't know. I think Daniel is the best on the roster, and I don't know. Reddles, sometimes he's iffy. Like if you watch Reddles, he misses sometimes, like whiffs. I don't know what it is. Then Arsenal, when he's not on, he's not on. But when he's on, he's insane. So I think Space Station.
That's exactly how I see them too, man. It's like when all 3 pieces are working together, then they're great. But because the consistency is not there for the other 2 players, it's just you never know what you're gonna get.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. But yeah, I think version 1 just on the uprising. Honestly, I think by the end of spring, version 1 will be in the top 3. FaZe will probably have number 4 spot because they're just consistent, good players, right? They're not anything crazy right now, but I think they could also have that spring split where they just go crazy and then, maybe be a top like 2 team, but we'll just have to see. FaZe is probably the most consistent right now in NA, I would say. G2 also same thing. Like they just won a LAN, right? But I don't think that they're gonna be the best in NA. Like they might hold that in rankings, but I don't think they're gonna be the best team. Like at the end of the day, they're all close. So it just depends on the day. But I think G2 obviously, like without that, they already clinched their spot, I think. But at Worlds, you might not even see G2 play that good. They might get like eliminated as the first NA team. You never know. But I'd say Space Station Complexity moves up. Envy, I think they're just too far right now. I don't know, unless their coach or something, their play styles, maybe a roster change. I don't know.
You do realize Complexity has a curse from traditional sports, right?
They do?
Yeah. You know who their big daddy is? Old Jerry Jones of the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
They haven't done anything good since the 90s. Or wait, hang on, as the youngins call it, the 1900s. God.
1900s. Oh my. I don't know. I just feel like a Complexity, they're insane, right? Like, I think that they are a better team overall than I think they're more consistent than Space Station. So I think if they can play like they did in fall, they could go crazy. But I don't know. It just depends. Like if Space Station shows up a lot, like on these 3 regionals, then yeah, definitely, then they clinch the spot. But if not, Complexity might just show up. Like it just depends. It really just depends on. I think the first regional or 2 are gonna have a huge factor on who. Like if you ask me after regional 2, I'll for sure be able to call it. But right now, it's like
okay.
But like regional 1 too. Like if regional 1 Space Station chokes, I say Complexity takes it. But if Complexity chokes, it's a little hard because that's what Complexity does a lot. I think in winter they choked on the first region, I believe, and then they just didn't play the same since.
Well,
see. Oh no, it was regional 2. It was regional 2. They choked. They got 13 through 16. Really bad.
So while we also have you here, Bucket is in a disagreement with me. I think spring is gonna be just like a drawn out, like, it's a double elimination bracket.
Oh yeah, that's what I was gonna say. Yeah, like the format has a lot to do with this too. So it honestly depends. Like, say with this format, you might see teams that are really good just start choking, right? They only have 2 chances now. So you might see like G2 get eliminated first, one of the first teams eliminated. You never know. So I think this is going to be crazy. You're going to see a lot of upsets, I think, with the double limb. Definitely.
You don't have the opportunity to start out slow like you did in this.
So actually, now I think about that, yeah, I think that Space Station's going to do, I think that Complexity will definitely take them then. Complexity, I think they're such a momentum team. If you watch Complexity, once they're on, if they're on, like straight up. But teams like G2 or like let's just say NRG, for example. NRG, I don't see NRG doing good with a double limb. Definitely not doing good with a double limb.
And it depends too if it's the live when it gets to the actual spring LAN or if it's online, because we saw you were there at LAN, like BDS come out that first Saturday after they were in the lower round, and they just looked like they couldn't even hit the ball. It was unbelievable to watch. That was the first matchup we saw. We were like, "What are we here for? This is crazy."
What do you think happened there, Wi-Fi?
I think with BDS, not gonna lie, I think a lot of the EU teams, I kind of feel bad, but I think that the crowd honestly got to their head. Not gonna lie, in my opinion, I think the pressure and just hearing the crowd, like everyone in the crowd was rooting for any NA team that was up there. So I don't know if you heard it.
It's the home field advantage.
Yeah, on stream it's probably not as loud, but in there, like holy, I could tell if you had a headset on, you could probably 80% hear the crowd. Like that was pretty loud. Like
and we were willing Daniel into existence too. Like Daniel got chance every time he
did anything. Yeah. So I think like everyone was in NA was getting the extra boost of confidence, right? Like that's why I think Space Station stepped up. I think the crowd did, give them that extra little oof. But yeah, teams like Queso, they just somehow, even with them being so young, they played so well, even though, they were always the underdog when it come to, the chance. Like everyone was like,
they like that though, being young, I think that they just and I said this before to someone, but in baseball, when you have someone throwing like a no hitter or something, you don't put out there a guy who's going to overthink it and be
Oh yeah, yeah.
in his head. You just put out the young rookie you got there, get a hit. Don't think about the moment, and that's what they did. They weren't thinking about any of that. They were just, we know how to play this game. Let's do it.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's what happened though with like Evil Geniuses, for example. Like they just the chance, man, and you know everyone wanting Queso to win, and it just I think it got to their heads for sure. So I think that's what really happened with the EU teams. I wouldn't say that they would have played better though if there wasn't people. I think is it's also just at the end of the day, it's what happened. We don't know, but I think that NA. I wouldn't say NA is that much better, right? Like even though we saw all the NA teams, up in the I think top 8, right? Besides NRG,
Mm-hmm.
I still don't think that we're that much better than EU. Is just at that LAN, I think that honestly that crowd was just all for NA. And
Mm.
and NA came in knowing that they had to win, right? Like everyone at NA is like, we need to win this because if we don't, then all the people in EU are, gonna say the whole copium thing and all that stuff. So like they kind of we needed to prove that we're even, right? At least be even. So I think that was a huge thing. And EU probably were also in their own heads, thinking we need to win this so that we can prove that we're better than NA. So I think there's
All
that
the
too.
pressure. For
Yeah, all the
sure.
pressure. I think more pressure is on EU that LAN personally.
Exactly.
I actually said before, like in their show leading up to the Winter Major, I thought the pressure, like you said, NA they had to show up. NA had to show up because at this point it's all been Johnny Boy up there running his mouth. EU's better, having to listen to that. Stumpy just sitting there saying it. We had to have T Bates be right, and luckily he did come out on top and was correct overall. Well, Wi-Fi, you got any last words to share with everybody before we let you go?
No, I mean, appreciate you letting me, just join last minute and just talk or about everything, but not really anything.
Well,
Keep us in the loop, man. When you
Yes.
are going to announce or whatever you end,
Yeah.
whatever happens, like let us know. Post it in our Discord, or if you want to announce with us, like whatever, just let us know, man. We're super interested in your path and your journey, and really proud of what you're doing, man.
Yeah, I appreciate it, my man. Yeah, I usually post that kind of stuff on Twitter, but if you want, I can like DM you guys or whatever. But I'd say
Totally.
Twitter is probably my best
We'll
way of
watch.
like.
We'll watch your Twitter.
Yep.
Yeah.
Will do for sure. Well, everybody, once again, thank you, Wi-Fi, for coming on. We appreciate it. You're always welcome, buddy.
Yeah, thank you, bro. I have a nice one, guys.
Have
You
a
too,
good
brother.
one,
Yeah, you too.
dude. Wi-Fi saving us there. Holy crap! That made tonight 100%.
Free content. Love it. Yeah, I mean, he had so much good news too, and so many good aspects. It was nice to hear from someone else who was at LAN and had the same experience, like similar but also way different, because he had, like, someone was taking pictures with him, right? Or he had known these guys or played with some of these guys. So it was really cool to hear that aspect, and then what he's doing next. And that's my hopes for everyone in this scene. Like, find where you fit in. What do you like? What do you want? And he's still a little conflicted. You can tell, like,
Yep.
do I play? Do I coach? Do I go back to school, then try to do something? Do I do this? But he's a smart kid, man. We said that the first time we talked to him. He's just a smart one.
Yeah, 100%. Well, he's not making me happy about that space station prediction. I'm hoping space station shows up in spring. But yeah, this is gonna be a wild like week or so, or maybe it won't be. Maybe it'll be super quiet, and we'll see Fairy Peak just get released, and that might be the biggest one. But I have a feeling there's at least one other move out there that no one's tracking that is going to surprise us before the start of spring.
At least one. Yeah, I would agree that there's going to be something, but if it becomes a team where it actually affects their points and where they're going to be at the end, like, I would be very surprised. It would be very difficult to deal with that.
Right.
I guess, and I know in the window it's affect, right? But I'm saying to not just stick with what you have at this point in the season, unless someone really needs to get out of a big. I'd be very surprised if we see something in some of those top teams. But it sounds like the KDOP Fairy Peak days might be over.
Sounds like that might be over. I'm watching Envy super closely, just because they're sitting at 1230 right now. V1 sitting in 5th spot at 1691. So I mean, there is that chance, but then again, Complexity has to also go downhill. Hang on, Tomlet, Exec, and Rogue going to be lower teams I'm rooting for. I think will do well. Rapid is a hell of a pickup. I would agree. They're both sitting at 650 and 620, so they got a long hill. They got a big hill to climb. But it's
That's
definitely
sure.
it's not out of the realm of possibilities. That for sure. So I know for them, it's definitely they got to make land. They got to make land, and I would say they have a shot. But
Yep, that's what it's all about. Make it to the show, and then once you're there, you already secured something.
exactly. But
Or it's all a level playing field.
level playing field for sure. Yeah, land will be completely a level playing field, and I can't wait to see the teams that come through in the spring as we get closer. We'll be sure to keep tabs on what's going on. Tomlet always helping us out in the Discord, keeping us up to date on what is going on. Make sure, one thing Tomlet did post on, everybody go tell Beast Mode's girlfriend what she needs to spend her. What did that tweet get up to? Hang on before we go. What was the final tally on that?
80. I'm gonna guess 80.
You're gonna guess 80? 65.3 thousand.
Oh,
B Davis in the 24-hour period is in the 40 to 50s. So that girl has a lot of money to spend. Hang on, and to really put a little bow on it, what does it say his total winnings are? Let's see how much his bank account got drained. Approximate winnings 57,000. So that dude is went from a nice bank account. He's gonna need a loan. Ouch. Bucket, you got any last words?
Oh no, what a great ad hoc little thing that we got. But yeah, I mean, what do we got? How many more weeks until we see some RLCS on the weekends? 2 more weeks?
I think it's 2 more weeks. Hang on. I'm going to Spring Regional 1. Start date 4/29.
4/29. So yeah, 3 weeks just about, right?
Woo.
So 23 days. So can I do that? 25 days. So if you guys have anything, if you watch his VOD, if you were here still, and you want to talk about it, or just have us talk about it, or have suggestions in this time, there's plenty of stuff for us to dig into, but we want to know what's interesting to you guys too. So hit us up in the Discord. Let us know what's going on that you've seen, what if we needed to put our opinions on there or whatever, and definitely make sure to make some time to do that. So, and then also look out for other things coming up, possible other mediums to get us or watch this stuff rather than having to watch a VOD. We maybe do some videos shortly and some other things. So trying to make this as easy as possible to get this content.
Yes, we are definitely wanting to improve that aspect of it. B Davis, we should have asked him about doing his plans for coaching Cody. Is he signed up for that? I really hope he is, because that would be a good one.
I think he is.
Is he? That's awesome. I can't wait for that one. But yeah, if you guys have any, he's next. Oh man, I wish. See, I'm so bad at remembering these things. But if you got any ideas you want to hear us talk about, or if there's any creators that you would like us to try and get in touch with, we are working that, trying to, get that networking going. Maybe one of these times we're gonna have to give. You know what? I want to bring Cody on after all his coaching is done, and chat with him about his experience on that. So we will have to try and work that. But yeah, any creators, any pros you want us to try and reach out to, see if they'll come on here and chat for a little bit, let us know, and we will see what we can get going. But as always, thank you guys for tuning in. Thank you for hanging out and engaging in the chat. Thank you, Wi-Fi, for hopping up here real quick and giving us some that nice little insider knowledge that we're always looking for. And we will catch you guys next time. Have a good one. The Bucket and Hoosier Show is recorded in front of a live Twitch audience. Mondays, 9:30 p.m. EST at twitch.tv/Mr. Hoosier.